Hi, all. Good evening.
Hello, all. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
All right, guys. So welcome to the demo session for Azure 104, right? Where we are going to learn about cloud computing, and we are going to learn about AG 104, right? And we will see that what and all topics we are going to cover under this whole AZ 104 module, right? And I'll be helping you out with all the real-time scenarios that how companies used to work on Azure or on cloud services. Okay. So let me quickly share my screen. All right. So hope it is visible to everyone.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So Azure 104, right? So it is a kind of, you are going to learn about concepts, basic concepts of cloud in AZ 104, right? So once you will do this course, after that, you will decide whether you want to go for Azure networking or you want to go for Azure security. That is your choice. But before that, we should have the idea of this portal, of Azure portal, how to work on it, how to create the virtual machine, how to make the communication possible. If let's say I have two different virtual machines, right? So how I will be able to communicate them? Multiple things are there. Venu, you will not be able to record it, right? So the session is already, you're going to get this session on your portal, right? So no need to record it. Okay. So we have 9 modules in this whole course, right? Which is related to network security, managing virtual machine, managing load balancer, managing DNS. Multiple things are there, right? Which we are going to cover in 9 modules of Azure 104. And it is strictly based on the topics that is published on the Microsoft website. So whatever the Microsoft has recommended, so all of the topics are covered in this Azure 104 in all these 9 PPTs basically. I'm going to provide 9 PPTs, right? So before I start, and before I start with the PPTs and also, first of all, I just need to explain one thing, that what is cloud computing and why it is needed and why it is popular nowadays. So might be you have heard every time, like if you're working in any of the organization, right? So you have to build the servers. You have to build Active Directory, domain controllers. You have to build DNS server. You have to build file servers and all. So if you're going to build those servers in your on-prem data center, in that case, you have to take care of all those stuff. Like you have to take care of networking, connectivity, right? You have to make sure that there should be a power backup 24/7. You have to make sure that your server should be reachable every time. And multiple scenarios are there in which it is your responsibility if we are going to have servers on on-prem data center. Just for example, let me give you example, right? The scenario, or even still companies are configuring their servers in their own data center, right? But definitely they are going to move it. So in case of on-prem data center, right, what we need to do, we have to place server racks, right? We have to make sure that our server should be reachable to clients, my users. So for that, I have to make sure that there should be a uninterrupted network configuration and uninterrupted power backup also. Right. Along with it, if let's say there would be a hardware failure with any of the server, so obviously I'm going to mount server onto it. Let's say there is a hardware failure on the server. So obviously, whatever the applications which I am going to run on this server, my users will not be able to reach, right? Because this server will not be able to respond. So that is why it is basically a huge responsibility if you are going to have on-prem data center. But in case of cloud, you need not to worry about any of these things which I have mentioned. Like no need to worry about power backup, no need to worry about if there would be a hardware failure. So as soon as if there would be a hardware, obviously on the back end, if you're taking a cloud subscription, in that case also your servers are going to be configured on a physical machine itself, right? So it might possible that there would be a issue with the Microsoft data center also. But Microsoft, what it will do, as soon as any of the server will get down, or as soon as any of the virtual machine will get down, Microsoft will move your application to any other server. That is called high availability. Whenever you are going to configure the virtual machine over there, you will get the option whether you want the high availability of VM or not. If you are going to configure high availability, in that case, in any of the scenario, if any of the server or any of the virtual machine will get down, or there would be a hardware issue on the server, then in that case, Microsoft will move your virtual machine to another server, so that you need not to worry about, your users will be able to reach to the application which you have hosted on this server. That is why multiple organizations are preferring cloud. And even if you're talking about on-prem, right? In that case, you have to procure the hardware. You have to procure the hardware, right? You have to make a procurement to the vendor, right? Either it would be HP or it would be Dell, right? In that case, those guys are going to take time also in order to deliver that product to your office. But now, in case of cloud, no need to worry. Whatever the compute power you want, let's say you want 16 GB RAM and 8 virtual CPU, you can create it within a minute. But in this case, if let's say you have a new requirement, so first of all, you have to make a procurement. Then in that case, that vendor is going to take time in order to deliver this hardware to your office. So you have to wait for it. But in case of cloud, no. It will take only 1 minute to create a new virtual machine. Same way, there are multiple benefits. We have multiple benefits if we are going to opt for cloud services. So there are multiple cloud vendors available in the market. That is AWS, GCP, Alibaba, Microsoft. Multiple vendors are there, right? And we are going to focus on Azure, Microsoft Azure 104, like Azure, Microsoft Azure. So we are going to focus on Microsoft Azure. So this is just a small introduction, right? Now let me go to the PPT where actually we will see that what is cloud computing, right? As so it is one and same thing, right? That whenever you want a server, right? Then in that case, you can configure the server on the Microsoft Azure. That's it. Right. So Microsoft is also having a huge data center. As I told, at the backend, whenever you are going to configure the virtual machine on cloud, obviously it is going to be configured on a hardware. Now, where is that hardware? Who's managing that hardware? So that is actually managed by the Microsoft. You need not to worry about it. Right? Then cloud computing, it is a delivery of computing services over the internet. This is what I mentioned, right? Earlier, whenever you are working with the on-prem data center, right? So if you want to connect the virtual machine, in that case, you have to connect the VPN and then only you will be able to enter in your office network. But in case of cloud, you just need an internet connection. That's it. If you have an internet connection, you will be able to connect it through your browser. Right? And some of the examples are like database. You can create multiple servers, multiple type of servers. You can create storage. In case of on-prem, you used to create file servers, right? And in case you want to access those file server, and if you are working from home, then in that case, you have to first of all connect VPN, and then only you will be able to reach to your file server. But here just a internet connection is, and you can connect it throughout the world from any corner of the world. Just internet connection is needed. You have applied some security rules. That is a different thing. Security rules in the sense, let's say I have a virtual machine, I have a VM running on Azure, right? I want to connect it. I want to connect it through my laptop. I want to take a RDP session, right? So in this case, I can apply some security rule also that it should accept RDP from a particular IP only. That is called network security group, right? If I want this machine can be connected through a particular IP address, through a particular location, I can do that. That is a different thing we are going to cover in this course. Don't worry about it. I'm just giving you one example that if you want to put some type of restriction, that is possible. We can do that. Whenever it is needed, we can do that. We can allow the connection that only it is going to allow 3389 RDP connection only, but from a particular IP address. Rest of the IP address, you will not be able to connect that VM. If you are going to send the request from that particular IP, then only you will be able to take this on remote. Otherwise, no, you will not be able to connect. That is the security part. Okay. So the thing here is you just need an internet connection in order to access all the services which is available on cloud. And those services can be storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence. Cloud computing offers faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. Whenever you want, let's say, let's say the compute power which you have assigned to this machine, right? It is low and you want to scale it. You want to customize it. You can do it in a single click in case of Azure. But at the same time, if you are going to do this in your on-prem, then first of all, we have to turn off the server. We have to see the compatibility, whether it is going to support that particular hardware or not.
हिंदी में समझ आती है ज्यादा
So
तो
multiple
आधा
things are
ऊपर से
there.
निकलता है 50% समझ आता है 50% ऊपर से निकल जाता है
Sorry, Alok. Do you have any query, Alok?
no just keep it on.
Okay. So you were asking something or like what? All right. After this, I will give a pause so that you will be able to ask your queries also. Yeah. So whenever you want, you can customize it. You can scale it. Let's say 16 GB RAM is not enough on this virtual machine. You want to customize it. You want to increase it. We can do it in a single click. That is why it is flexible. Whenever we needed, we can increase the compute power or we can decrease the compute power also. Right? Then this is what I mentioned. Rather than managing files and local storage devices, cloud computing makes it makes it possible to save them from over the internet or access over the internet. Right? Earlier you were storing all these things in your on-prem data center, but now with the help of cloud services, you will be able to store them on cloud and it would be accessible via internet. Okay. Then there are multiple cloud computing model, which is deployment model and service model. Right? So deployment model is public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud. And services model are infrastructure as a service, IaaS, platform as a service, PaaS, SaaS, software as a service. So whenever you are going for the interview, in case of cloud, definitely they are going to ask that what is public cloud, what is hybrid cloud, what is private cloud. Okay. Now, so this is the example in order to understand it, right? Public cloud is what? Bus. Means everyone can access. If you're taking example of public bus, right? Public transport. So in that case, everyone can access it. Everyone can make their account. Everyone can access their resources over the cloud. But in case of private cloud, it is going to be owned by a particular organization only. You are going to have your resources, and apart from your users, apart from your employees, no one will be able to access or no one will be able to see those resources on cloud. That is private cloud. Hybrid cloud, you can say it is the combination of both public and private. Means you can put your configuration or you can put your infrastructure which is going to be available for public as well as which is going to be available only to your company's employees. That is hybrid, which is combination of both public and private. Okay. Now here even you will see what is public cloud, right? So public cloud provides a shared platform that is accessible to the general public through an internet connection. Right? So public cloud operated on the pay as per use. So this is the best thing of cloud. So if you are going to create any of the resource on Azure, in that case, Microsoft is going to charge you pay as you go. Means if let's say I have created a virtual machine, right? But after some time, I turned off that virtual machine. Then Microsoft is not going to charge any single penny from me. If it is going to be in the running state, then only Microsoft will charge the amount from me. That is called pay as you go. That as soon as you are running the services of cloud, till then only your cloud provider is going to charge. Right? So example of public cloud is Azure, AWS, IBM, Google Cloud, Alibaba, multiple cloud platforms are there. Right? So this is public cloud. Then we have private cloud, in which only a particular organization is going to have their infrastructure. Apart from that, no one will be able to access the resources. So a private cloud is a model of cloud computing where the infrastructure is dedicated to a single organization. So a particular organization is going to have its own infrastructure. It is going to be assigned to a particular organization only. See, in case of public cloud, what will happen if I'm going to turn off this machine? If I'm going to turn off this virtual machine, right? So whatever the resources has been assigned to this virtual machine, it might possible that it is going to be assigned to any other VM. Means, let's say I have selected here two virtual CPU, right? And 8 GB RAM. And I turned off this machine. Then Microsoft will, what it will do, it will assign these resources to other virtual machine.
Sir, did you
It
share
is
your
not
screen?
going to be there. Sorry.
Did you share your screen?
Yeah, it is already shared.
No, I don't. I'm not able to see.
No one is able to see my screen.
I think so.
Guys, can you please confirm?
Yes, sir, we can
Yes,
see.
sir. I seen, sir.
Okay. So it is your issue, I believe. It is your... Can you rejoin the session?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I was talking about that if, let's say, I assign two virtual CPU and 8 GB of RAM to this virtual machine, right? And I'm going to switch it off. Then Microsoft, what it will do, it will release this compute power and it will assign the compute power to any other VM. Sorry. It will assign to any other VM. When I'm going to turn it on back, then in that case, again, it will get the same compute power on this virtual machine. So this is going to happen in case of public cloud. But as soon as you're going to opt for private cloud, in that case, Microsoft will provide you the dedicated infrastructure that is not going to be shared with any other organization. Like you can understand in such a way that you are going to have a dedicated server rack for your company, which is going to be there in Microsoft data center. So it is going to be a dedicated server rack, right? No one will be able to configure virtual machine on this rack, at least, because it is a private. It is assigned to your organization. You are going to have full control on this rack. Apart from that, no one will be able to control it. That is the example of private cloud. Okay. Then we have hybrid, where actually you are going to have both public as well as private. Now, if you are just taking example of any of the website, right? Let me take example of any internet banking, right? So are you able to, whenever you are going to log into the your account, your internet banking, right? Are you able to see the accounts of other users? Are you able to see the employee names of the bank in the application? So you are only able to see the information which bank wants to share with you. So which information you are able to access, you can say it is a public cloud, and the internal information is kind of private cloud, where actually bank is going to have full control on it, and where bank want that customers are going to have control, so they can control their own account. Apart from that, they will not be able to control any other account. So that is example to understand combination of both public and private. Now, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Till now.
Hello, sir.
Actually, I'm
Yes,
very new
Jishan.
to this field, so please bear me if I
Okay,
ask very simple questions. So first
no
of all, I
problem.
would
Yes,
like to
please.
know what is the basic difference between VMware and Azure, how it is going to differ. Although I understand that we need some hardware racks for VMwares, but
Mm.
for the Azure also, do we need a specific machine where we run Azure services, or we can run it on any web application through any laptop or client user?
Exactly. So if you're going to opt for Azure, right, then in that case, you can log in through your browser. You will be getting one account actually. So you have to log in with that account by using your browser, and then you will be able to create your virtual machines and other stuff on cloud on Azure.
And one more thing, since we do have big storage and backup every day, so how we are
Mhm.
going to manage the bandwidth? Do we need to get the public IP for this kind of things? Because it's going.
Everything, yes, everything Microsoft is going to provide. I will show you one example, right? Don't worry.
So, sir, there would be any limitation of bandwidth? How much bandwidth we will get, or how much data we can transfer?
So there is no as such limit, right? But
Mhm.
there are two types of networking we are going to get. Public IPs we are going to get. That is that is in that case we are going to have bandwidth issue, in which like there would be some latency issue is going to happen. But if you're going to opt for the second service, then in that case you will be able to access all those services without any kind of latency. There would be low latency in that case, but charges, like as per the services you are opting, so based on that you have to pay the charges as well to the client, to the cloud vendor.
Mhm. So, sir, one question. Just like we create one VM and we use only
Hmm,
for 8 or 9 hours in a day, every day, suppose.
hmm,
So,
hmm, hmm.
is there any rule we can create that after every 9 hours it will shut off
Exactly,
automatically?
you
Or
can create
yeah,
yes, you can create a schedule also that
okay,
automatically it will get shut down.
okay.
You want to run your virtual machine from 9 to 6, that,
Mhm.
right? You can put a schedule and automatically after 6 it would be shut down, it would be switched off.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. And even there is one option of auto patching also. You must be aware of that. Every second Tuesday Microsoft used to release their latest patches, their operating system patches, right? So there is a option option that you can select whenever you're going to create the virtual machine, that as soon as Microsoft is going to release the latest patch, it will auto patch, it will install the patches automatically. That also we have, that also option we have. Okay, so these are the public, private and hybrid cloud. Now you have IaaS, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Infrastructure as a service on cloud, what it is? It is basically creating your infrastructure on cloud, creating your virtual machines on cloud. That is infrastructure as a service. See, again, it is also available pay for what you use model. Right? So as a cloud operations, as a cloud administrator, you have to deal with it. You are handling some clients, right? So in that case, you have to build some virtual machines for them. Right? So that model is called as infrastructure as a service. Then we have platform as a service. So it is basically used by the software developers, right? So whenever they are going to design a application, right? So in that case, they might be using some platform, right? Like .NET, Java, Python, whatever the platform they are running, right? That is their choice. If they want to test their codes, right, then in that case they can choose the platform and they can test their application whether it is running fine or not. So PaaS, platform as a service, provides cloud platform and runtime environment for developing, testing, and managing applications. It allows software developer to deploy application without requiring all the related infrastructure. Directly they can deploy, directly they can run their application, directly they can do testing, whether there would be any bug in the application. So everything they will be able to test by their own. We need not to worry about anything. As a cloud, as an operations engineer, we need not to worry about it. Developers can manage this thing because they know their platform. They know where actually they have created their code and where actually that code is going to be run. So that is totally being managed by the software developers, right? Then we have software as a service, SaaS. So the biggest example to understand SaaS is Office 365, Intunes, right? So earlier in the on-prem data center, you were building your Exchange server. But now there is an option of Exchange Online. You have to just take the subscription on the back end, whatever the service is, wherever it is going to be configured, it is managed by the Microsoft. But in case of on-prem, if you're going to configure Exchange in your on-prem environment, then you have to see, then you have to look around to your servers. You have to see. But in case of Office 365 or this Intunes also, so with Intunes as well, we can manage multiple things. So this is the biggest example to understand software as a service, where actually you have to just take the license, you have to just take the subscription, user-based subscription, and then you will be able to configure your services. Again, it is also going to be on cloud. You need not to worry about any of the server, any of the services. It is managed by the Microsoft itself. Right. So this is software as a service model. Yes, you can take example of Dockers also. Now, what is Docker, right? Docker needs only the limited services to run an application. Only limited services. That is in case of platform as a service, right? I'm just giving the example of someone has written in the chat, right? Dockers, right? So Docker is also an example of platform as a service, where actually you just need the minimum resources to run your application. That's it. Right? So this is platform as a service, and then you have software as a service, and there are multiple cloud providers, which is AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, VMware, DigitalOcean, Google Cloud. Multiple vendors are there. So based on your choice, you can opt for the cloud services. No doubt AWS is the market leader, but the second one is Microsoft Azure. Okay. Then life cycle of a cloud solution. If let's say you are running all your servers on your on-prem environment, right? And you want to move your infrastructure to cloud. You want to move your infrastructure to Azure. Then what and all things you have to take care, what and all things you have to plan before migrating your services to cloud. So this is what actually it is explained here, that first of all, you have to define the purpose, that why you need cloud. Why you want to opt cloud services. Or if let's say you made your decision that you want to go for cloud, then what kind of cloud you want? You want to go for public, you want to go for hybrid, or you want to go for private? So in first phase, we should be clear with our purpose, that why we are opting for the cloud services and which cloud is best for us, because obviously we have to see the economical things also, right? We have to make sure that whatever the options we are choosing, uh, it should be it should come under my company's budget also, right? So first of all, we will define that why the purpose, why we need it, where we want, whether we want to go for AWS or we want to go for Azure. That is the decision that you have to take. Then define the hardware. So once you have selected that, yes, I'm going for the public cloud or I'm going for the private cloud, then obviously I will be having there, I want to move my servers over there. So in that case, what compute power I have to select? Now let me give you an example. See, let's move to the portal. So in order to log into Azure, you have to access portal.azure.com. Just a second. I already have my account. Just give me a moment. Sorry. Oh, who logged this account? Okay, guys, just a second. Let me stop my screen share. Just give me a moment. Let me retrieve my account. Oh God, it is going to take time. All right, I got logged in. Let me reshare my screen. Okay, so you can see portal.azure.com, right? So you have to create an account. And if you have a credit card, in that case, you have to sign up by using that credit card, and you are going to get $200 to use Azure portal for 1 month. You have to make sure that your credit card should be unique, right? One person can use only one credit card. If let's say you have five credit cards, you can use only one. You can't use five, all of them. Okay. So after you are going to sign up to Azure, you are going to get this kind of portal, right? And then I was giving you the example of virtual machine, right? I was giving you the example of hardware. So if let's say I want to create a virtual machine, then in that case, I need to go to VMs, and then there is an option of create a virtual machine. And before creating any of the resource in Azure, we have to make sure that we should create a resource group first of all. Now, resource group is what? It is a kind of basically a box where actually you are going to add all of the services, be it is network, or it is storage, or it is virtual machine. Whatever the services are there in cloud, in Azure, you have to make sure it should be under resource group. Even you can see a red star here, which is mandatory. All right. So we have to create a resource group, and then we have region here. Now region is what? Microsoft has multiple regions available across world. Let me show you. Microsoft Azure data center. So this is the real-time status, right? Where actually you can see this blue mark, right? Or sky blue, basically, you can say. So these are the data center actually. These are the data centers. Right? Same way, if you will move, you can see other data centers also. You can see other data center also, like this. So you have to choose the location. You have to choose the region that where you want to create your resources. Let's say you are working from Indian clients, right? So it is good to create the infrastructure in India region itself. Why to create it in US? If you have some US clients, then in that case, you can go for the US region. Now, region is nothing. Regions are basically the data center where actually you're configuring your virtual machine, or where actually you're configuring your resources of Azure. All right. Now, based on your requirement, you can choose the region as well. Or before that, let's create a resource group. So you can create a resource group by selecting create new. And let's say I'm giving the resource group name as demo, right? And then okay. So this resource group is created in East US location. If you want to change the location, you have to go to this drop down and then you can select which location you want to choose. Now this is your requirement. This is your choice, like in which region you want to create. So you have multiple region options available here based on the requirement, based on your customer, based on your client. You can select. Even you can go for Central India also.
Does it have any price difference for the
Yes,
different?
it has actually. Now, even okay, if you're asking for price differencing also, so there is a option every time when you are going to opt for the Azure, whenever you are going to opt for the cloud services. So there is a calculator, price calculator. From there, you can get some idea that if you are going to opt for these services, what is going to be the charges from the Microsoft, what Microsoft is going to charge from you. Okay, so in that case, you can go for the Azure pricing calculator. Okay, now as you asked that whether there is going to be a price differentiation or not, yes, it is going to be there. Why? Because every country has their own policies, right? They have their tax structure. So based on that, obviously, price is going to be vary, right? So if I'll select this virtual machine, now see the difference, okay? For now, it is charging $137 for Windows virtual machine in East US location. But you can see one virtual machine that I'm going to run for 730 hours, right? But let me make a change that I'm going to run it for 1 month. Okay, 1 month in East US region and Windows operating system, and the compute power would be 2 virtual CPU, 8 GB RAM, and 50 GB temporary storage, and 127 GB C drive. By default, whenever you are going to create a Windows virtual machine in Azure, you are going to get 127 GB of C drive. But yes, if you want to make it more, it is possible. We can make it till 2 TB. Okay, C drive we can make up to till 2 TB. So I'm just going with this East US Windows OS, and for 1 month. Okay. So for now, I'm not selecting any kind of discount and all, because see, if you're going to reserve the instance for 1 year, then in that case, you will get 40% discount. And if you're going to reserve it for 3 years, then in that case, you will get 62% discount. Okay, just for now, I'm just going with the default one. So you can see $137. But at the same time, if I'll choose another location, let's go with India itself, right? Central India. Now let's see. It is $143. So comparison is in front of you. In case of US, it is charging 137, and in case of India, it is charging $143. At the same time, again, if I'll make the location, for example, Japan East, $161. Right? So cost will vary depending upon the location you are selecting. Clear? Huh? Clear? All right. Then, yeah, okay. So I was about to create a virtual machine. So now you have to give the virtual machine name. For example, I'm giving demo-VM. Region is okay, East US. Now you have option of availability. That is what I was talking about. That if, let's say, any of the virtual machine will get down, then still you will be able to access your virtual machine, because Microsoft is going to move, or Microsoft is going to create same type of virtual machine into 3 different availability zone. You can see zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. So what Microsoft will do, Microsoft will create 3 virtual machine in 3 different zone, so that if any of the machine will get down, still I will be able to work from the second virtual machine. If second will down, I will be able to work through the third virtual machine. This is the high availability option, right? So for now, I'm not going with the high availability. I'm just selecting no infrastructure redundancy, and security type also I'm going with the standard one. I will be explaining each and everything later on once we will start our full-fledged classes. Okay. And then image type. Image type is what? Operating system. Which operating system you want? Microsoft allows you to create Linux and Windows operating system. You can't create Mac OS. Mac is only possible in case of AWS. All right. So you can select even every Linux. We have every flavor available. Like you can create Debian, you can create RHEL, you can create CentOS. So every flavor of Linux is available with Microsoft, right? So I'm just going with the Windows Server 2022. It is the latest one. And then you can see size. Architecture is 64-bit. By default, it is going to take 64-bit itself. Okay. Then you have size. Size means your virtual CPUs, your RAM. You can see one virtual CPU, 8 GB RAM. Obviously, higher will be the compute power, higher will be the speed of your VM. Higher will be the, like, there would be no issue with the VM. It is not going to hang actually. Okay. So based on your requirement, you can choose that which compute is best for you. Obviously, higher will be the compute power, higher will be the cost. Okay, you can see in case of one virtual CPU and 8 gig RAM, it is charging 9,000 rupees per month. But again, if you're going for 2 virtual CPU, 8 gig of RAM, then in that case, they are going to charge 17,000 rupees. So totally depends on the resources you are opting. Okay, just for our trial purpose, I am going for this is fine. We can go with this one as well. Let me select it. So I opted for 1 virtual CPU and 8 gig of RAM. Then in order to connect this virtual machine, you will be needing the username and password. Right? So you can create any username. For example, I'm giving demo-user. Okay, then you have to give the password. So this is the inbound port. Like first of all, we have to enable RDP 3389. Until or unless you will not enable RDP port, you will not be able to take the system on remote. So that you have to make sure RDP should be enabled. If you don't want to take system on remote, then it is fine. You can disable it. And don't worry, if you have not selected this port, we can enable it later on also. It is not mandatory that you have to enable it now itself. You can do it later on as well. Okay. So let's go next. This is what I was talking about. Then whenever you're going to create a Windows operating system, in that case, you are going to get C drive of 127 GB. But if you want to increase, you can increase it up to 2 terabytes. All right. And then we have auto operating system disk size also type also, that if you want to go for premium SSD, standard SSD or standard HDD. So you all are aware of that. If you are going for the SSD, then obviously the read write operation would be high. Okay, so you can choose as per your requirement. So I'm just going with the premium for now. If you want to connect any other disk also, if you want to create any other like D drive, E drive, F drive, you can create it and you can attach it. For now, I'm not doing it. This is just for a demo purpose. Once we will start our classes, I will be explaining each and everything. Okay, then go to networking. Obviously, in order to take the system on remote, it will be needing some IP addresses, right? So we have to create a virtual network. For now, it is creating with the name demo-vm-net. If let's say you want to create with another name, or you want to go with class B IP range or class C IP range, by default, you are going to get 10.0.0./16. And then you can create multiple subnets. Like you can see one subnet is created 10.0.0/24. If you want to create some more subnet, you can add it here. Okay, for example, I'm giving the name subnet-1, right? Same way, you can create one more subnet-2, and you can give the range like 10.1.0.0/24. Sorry, this will 10.0.0.1. Okay, just a second. Subnet-2.